I'm Jeffrey Anderson, and I will be reading pages 211 to 220. Alicia Whitmire. It's an interesting premise. What makes you say I'm special? How does funk play into it? Sean Penalber. 1. You are special, because as I said above, I have just said it to be, and now here a second time. 2. You are special because you exist. I know you exist. Your parents know you exist. Everyone reading this now knows you to exist, and that is special. 3. You are special because you are a part of me and us. You were an influence in my gathering of information on how the funk works, and your interest proves my theory to be continuously in effect and expanding, as it now is through you, reader. 4. You create and are creative, and that is special. 5. Now that we know that you are special, your influence upon the funk will continue to grow and expand in an exponential amount until it loops back within itself and starts again. You will always in time be you, and given enough time you will become you again in every way and form. Isn't that special? 6. You are special. Do you need further proof? Or does that all make sense and now prove you to be more special than you previously thought yourself to be? Alicia Whitmire. Makes sense. I'll keep reading your posts. Tuesday, December 10th, 2019 continued. I am now, by request, emailing this dissertation to Meredith Nudo. Hello, Meredith. Hope you enjoyed this. Tuesday, December 10th, 2019 continued. Kindle. Sean, I can't even read what you're saying. Everything you're posting is a run-on sentence. You're posting at wildly late hours of the night. I really encourage you to reach out to friends and seek help if you need it. I have BP2 and know that mania can present in a lot of different forms. I do care about you, and I'm all here for your self-discovery. A lot of people are worried for you. Please take care of yourself. Sean Penalber. Again, I see you caring. I am letting you know that I am taking care of myself. Yes, I am posting at late hours of the night, but so are those in China. Many people work late hours or are awake when the rest of the world is asleep. I am with friends almost every day, and those friends show and tell me that they currently understand what I am explaining. Again, I understand how this can appear to be manic, and I hope you are eventually able to see that I am functionally fine. I see that a couple of you are worried for me, but I also see those who continue to care about what I'm saying to then give me a giant hug, shake my hand, or tell me they love me after. Is that easier to read? Your understanding is deeply a part of it. I am learning how to explain all this, and it is indeed going to seem weird. Remember that they sentenced Socrates to death? I am currently being judged and sentenced by the results of my and our study. Definitely taking care if myself, just as you are attempting to do so for me. And if you ever need it, I am also there for you. Sean Penalber. Jackie, Laura, Paul, Samir, Wayne Penalber, can you, if you are able or wanting, confirm to Kendall that I am arguably healthy and well, and what I have been researching is in a way clear to you as I have communicated with you to understand. Simply below, tell everyone if it makes sense to you or does not and why. Sean Penalber. I understand how it seems crazy, Kendall. I have been researching this information through experience, communication, sociology, philosophy, art, science, religion, etc., and so far my findings are pointing to true until they can be proven otherwise. With deep and extensive research and trial and error, I, your friend, have discovered a next, deeper, paradoxical equation in philosophy, and you are a significant part of it. At this moment and in the past, I, and the history behind us, have been gathering proofs and collections of data, and it is indeed calculable and relative. And yes, that is crazy. In the way you get the feeling of crazy when you're like, how did I not understand that? Crazy. Thanks for the info. It is now up to you and us to learn it or not. That is our experience, but you/we are already influenced by it, and you/we are now influencing me, and I, you, and us, the funk, simultaneously through quantum experience. And your attempts, or not, to understand, or not, this communication forever applies to the data of my research on consciousness, technology, and the influence and realities of being both indirectly and directly. Sean Penalber. You are questioning what you are observing to be happening, and you are forming an opinion on it, having been influenced by it. You doing just that is helping others to understand in the comparable ways that you are currently questioning, and then relaying to me and us how to better explain it. And over time, I have indeed learned how to explain it better, but not yet perfectly. And it is possible that I, Sean Penalber, may potentially be unable to be alive to witness that distant singularity and expansions of time, space, and information, but this proves that I and we have existed within it, and that whatever the future becomes is an evolution of our influence. So I deeply thank you for your help and care. That is real love. Sean Penalber. I have been applying all of this research with the scientific method, and at this point in time, it is becoming more and more correct. Those who get it think it is wonderful information, and they feel the energy it brings. Those who don't, or cannot, or will not, or are struggling to do so, are so far by observation mostly unable to because they are dismissing the information as lunacy, or are overwhelmed by it, so they disregard it. But with patience and understanding, I have even seen people who have done so to closer understand it or argue it until they too are like, makes sense. Or not, but they are still a part of it. It takes communication, influence, experience, belief, etc. After currently 7 years, you are now seeing the resulting documented results of my social study of the past and the patterns within it leading up to now. Sean Penalber, Kindle. Am I becoming more understandable to you yet, or do you have another question and input on all of this output? Kindle. No, I'm still concerned for you. Sean. That is absolutely a part of it. Sean. I have improv practice. I'll answer more when I'm back from doing what I love with the people I love. Now rest and process these ideas as I am about to go do so as well. Rest and breaks are super important. Sean Penalber. Links to Boston Peace of Mind on YouTube. Relevant song on the radio after I turned on the car. Further following the patterns of coincidence and chance I have been studying. Sean Penalber. You can now discuss the exposure to this theory with MN, Lisa H. Beckman, Jason Rosenberg, Colton Grissett, and Debbie Harding Penalber if they want to. To my knowledge, I could see that each of them on some level of their perspective were understanding what I have been studying. I kindly ask that they share their experiences with interpreting these ideas, but again, they don't have to if they don't want to. Personal choice. But doing so increases further understanding for everyone. Editing the audio to the intro into this theory now. MN. Well, I do understand elements of the funk because of their overlaps with what little I comprehend about John Gribben's writings on quantum physics. But I don't think Kindle's concerns should be dismissed outright either. This isn't something I have a lot of experience with, but I also know it's not a possibility people bring up lightly or frivolously either. You're not crazy, and I won't call your ideas crazy, but I don't think she'd have spoken up if she didn't love and care about your health either. I love and care about your health too. You can be both insightful, thoughtful, and creative with wonderful ideas as well as possibly dealing with mania. Sean Penalber. Exactly. I am not dismissing Kindle's concerns either, but I am indeed very excited, though also slightly disappointed about being misinterpreted, on how y'all are reacting because it adds more data on how people respond to it, based upon their current and past knowledge and experiences. March 19th, 2023. And it was/is helpful, but also a bit harmful, as even to this day, I still feel that I lost a few social relationships from these judgments, and that any time I discuss philosophy, that I'll be dismissed as manic or other and lose further connections with more friends and family. I am passionate about it, but it is not the only thing I discuss, and it does hurt a bit when I get eye rolls or can see friends check out of the conversation when there is something philosophical that I'd like to discuss. I understand that it is partially because many don't enjoy getting philosophical, and these days attention spans are sparse, and small talk gets smaller and smaller. But I feel anyone can agree that it stings a bit to be passively dismissed, unless, of course, justifiably. I see that both of you care for me, and I also care for each of you, as much as I care about everyone and everything to a level. This is a study behind the why of that and then the results of. Both of you are right, but not 100% correct, and you are both reaching closer or not because you care or not, and we influence each other. Either these things begin to make sense, or you stick around to see what is eventually revealed to be as truth, or you stop caring, but you still have been influenced by the event. I understand the possibility that I could appear as manic, but I am very calm and collected. It's just exciting when the things you have been working up towards are becoming fruition, and you have the research, experience, collective data, and proofs behind it, not just my own, but everyone and everything. And if I don't yet, then I can find more info from you, a library, or the internet, and everyone and everything on it. Just like you once could find information in a library, or our libraries have become the internet, and each other. And to my belief, we are expanding to the next evolution of library data storage and connection. No one could do that in the past at our level when entering this type of study, but because they did it is now easier to do so, but also still comparatively difficult as you have to cover a lot of information, all of existence and beyond it. It is very difficult to analyze and summarize something that is expanding faster than we can currently perceive. Tuesday, December 10th, 2019 continued. Sean Penalber. If I were speaking Espanol right now, a lot of you would have no idea what I was saying, though some of you might or would and would get bits and pieces if they understood a few words. And that way I am speaking a form of Spanglish or mixture of languages of text, sounds, being, and beyond until I can properly speak and you can properly understand 100% well in Espanol and 100% in English, or whatever language this eventually could be translated into, whether I or you were to eventually learn that language or filter it through a translator, human or technology, either at this current point or some point in the future. All languages are constantly expanding and changing. If we spoke our personal forms of language to someone from the 1400s, they would probably have a bit of difficulty understanding what you're saying or how you're appearing, unless these hypothetical beings attempted to teach each other how to correctly communicate with each other, if they can even get to that point and hopefully not result in violence. For instance, if a hypothetical future conscious antelope grew to live in harmony with future conscious lions in a time or space-traveling antelope were to come across a form of lion, before that point, say a wild jungle lion from 1900s or even a lion from its same future time, just distant location and relation, it's probably going to be a bit difficult to say. Don't eat me. I know your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. We work together. Even if I, as a stranger or friend, were to say the same sentence to you yourself, you'd still be a bit confused by it. How would you even say hello to another being from a distant galaxy, let alone attempt to translate this information to it? I am trying to translate this experience or information, learning, and connection to you so that we can potentially be able to faster connect with each other and everything within and without the funk. Perhaps even before or after it, but most importantly, during. I am personally interested in studying and learning that communication and how to communicate better. I see that I still need work, and I promise you that is what I am attempting to do. I am working hard so that everyone can even attempt to understand, and it is a very difficult thing to do with such a broad and heavy topic to discuss. But with the influence of technology in each other, it is becoming easier and easier to do so. I hear y'all that I don't make complete sense, so bear with me until I am able to do so more clearly. Give it time. All of you are helping me reach that goal. Sean Penalber. Additionally, none of you can sense my tone because you are reading text, so you are assuming my tone based off of what you believe it to be. And that's probably even more difficult if it's not even in your language, culture, or time. I'll never truly know how these words translate to whomever or whatever is reading or hearing this, translated or not. But currently this is the best way I know how. And even if these ideas were to be presented audibly and visually in person, it would still be interpreted how you or any other interpreter would interpret it. So it is still important to write about and attempt to communicate through text, because that is how we currently most efficiently do so on the internet, in books or mobile textual information. Sean Penalber. Consider what is happening right now with the duct tape banana art. Art at some point was influenced to be created. Art kept happening until someone taped a banana on a wall and sold it for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Then someone ate the banana. Now Popeyes taped a chicken sandwich to the wall. A child draws the event and it goes viral. So on and so forth from this point in our time and experience. The influence and expansion is in effect at a more exponential speed because of the internet, and it'll be forgotten and then remembered at various wavelengths and times. Sean Penalber. You know how on the internet ads are designed to be targeted toward you and your interests. I speculate that life and energy within the funk does the same thing. Malregression. And right now, the algorithms and programs learning from that influence of all time and space are suggesting to your quantum being what your subatomic collected self should do in the present time within, and together reacting with space, time, and being to next influence the future, based off of the data experienced and collected from the past and every plank, or caravanialistic digit of time that these algorithms are expanding, contracting, advancing, losing, progress, multiplying, dividing, etc. The funk is feeding itself with information, being, experience, space, and time, just as you feed yourself food or information to keep yourself alive until you are dead and your physical body decays and returns to the atomic structure of the universe, until even the last core being of energy decays into wherever energy goes. You'll have been a present, resulting influence of the events leading up to existence to that point. Perhaps these algorithms will even understand what happens after the point of non-existence within space and time. The funk will still be there, and you had a significant Malevian effect on how it now is, will be, and was. That is what makes you as an individual so special, because you attribute to the all, so the all can even attempt to provide back to you and itself forever, forwards and backwards and outwards beyond time and space. Sean Penalber. Any more questions, comments, concerns? Please share them, or don't. You be you. Thank you for your current, past, or any future help and attributions. Your choice to do or to not do and how that influences the realities around us / it is a slice of what I am attempting to present. Does that make more or less sense? Thursday, June 2nd, 2022. You can see from the last several pages how some reacted to all of this information back in 2019 when I was first beginning to document these phenomena and theories. It was so much information that I was compiling together and presenting, and that I had a lesser grasp of understanding and or communicating, that when I attempted to discuss it, you can literally see how some wanted to dismiss it as manic and checked out there. Personally, I knew and still know myself to not have been in any state to be concerned about, and it was honestly a bit frustrating to experience, but it taught me a lot on how to better present and communicate this information. It was only less than a handful of people who responded this way, and what kept me going is all of the other people beyond and or within this document that were willing to hear and discuss more, and give their thoughts and opinions beyond, "This is too much for me," or "You seem manic." These days, now that I've had more time to summarize such a broad explanation into a more digestible proposal, and have reached further understanding personally and socially, I see the difference in engagement versus dismissal. And what you've read above have been the only times I've ever been alleged to be manic, at least to my knowledge. Most people can confirm that they, in their own way, understand or comprehend what I am suggesting to you. But like I stated above, whether I am or was manic to any degree or level or not, this is the information I have for you. And it is up to you on how you accept/deny or respond to it. So even if you think I or this information to be crazy, I at least hope you are willing to consider it as speculation. March 19th, 2023. And consider, as I touched on much earlier in this treatise, that even though there is balance and the negative often appears to outweigh the positive, as no-missions are sometimes louder than we-missions. You are more likely to be noticeably insulted by current society than assisted, as most agreement is passive. Take every comment section on the internet as example. Wednesday, December 11th, 2019. Sean Penalber, an introduction into the dissection and explanation of the funk. Link to a YouTube video. September 16th, 2020, or with improvised music accompaniment. Who'da Thunk, an intro into the ontological dissection and explanation of the funk. Here it is, friends. Give it a listen if you want, and feel free to share it or not. Love you. Let me know what you think, as your opinions about it are extremely important. Whatever reaction you have to it is extremely helpful. Even if you just think me to be crazy, tell me why you think so. I am now sending this dissertation and intro video to Frederick Knudsen, a documentarian of events on the internet and more, and I enjoy his work. I am requesting that he follows the results of this now increasingly building of events and connections. We'll see if he does or not. Hello, Frederick. Link to a YouTube video channel. June 12th, 2022. Within this collective experience of funk observation, there is something that I have been discussing and have read others describing about the strong internal funk feeling or impulse to reach out to another person or to go to a certain location or to do a certain thing. It's quite powerful. I would think we all feel it. I would even go so far as to suggest that it is the guided, influential feeling of an almost predetermined or calculated form of will. I would describe this feeling like an internal ethereal magnet pulling me, you, us towards something. You experience it within every action you make, e.g., I'm going to put this here, or I'm going to go to the store now, or something tells me I'm going to need this later. But there are moments where it is very pervading towards a specific thing or person, and it seems that when that connection is eventually reached, something clicks or results in a significant development. This is not to be confused with synchronicity, which, for example, where someone comes to mind or you think of someone and suddenly they call you or show up to where you are, etc. Or when you learn something and suddenly it unrelatedly appears again in conversation or activity and you're like, wow, I just learned about that and here it is again. What are the odds? But instead, conceptually, a synchronicious-like feeling of funk, attraction, or influence to future present funk. As a personal example, recently I had a funk feeling to reach out to a friend I hadn't spoken to in a while, and in doing so, it led me to some connections that I was currently working on by happenstance. I'll provide a better example the next time it personally happens. And that is the end of my selection of pages. I am currently reading through this work, and I am earlier on, whereas my selection was later on. And I currently have a limited understanding of the full picture, but I will start from the beginning of my selection with my feelings, thoughts, gut reactions. Immediately, we're talking about whether or not this is a manic episode. And, I am not qualified to judge that sort of thing. I can go off of my gut. I think that whether or not it is a manic episode, I would have to have more information. But I also believe that what a manic episode is, again, I'm not a professional, but my limited understanding is it is someone trying to rise to the energy, I guess, that they are feeling in their mind. So, again, I'm ignorant to a lot of ways you might describe this. You mentioned something that really resonated with me. You said that we are in a moment where there is just more information, and I'm paraphrasing, but we are in a moment where it is possible to learn more about the past than ever before because of emergent technologies. And I think there have always been people, philosophers and scholars who are very hungry for information and will seek it out in places like libraries. But it is truly just more free-flowing than ever before. And so I do think we sit in a unique place to be able to look back and observe it all and make sense of it. So while my spirituality is different from this, I can see similarities between things that I believe. I like to think about a work of fiction that I consider to be a strong model for the human experience and spirituality. And it's an anime. It's called Neon Genesis Evangelion. It is largely about the things that keep us from being able to communicate with each other, and people who need connection, different attachment styles, people who can't connect with others and push people away. I think that it's also very similar to the funk in that we are all one being, right? But we are separate, and that is the reason for pain. We are. It's this illusion that we're a different being, but we are the same. Where I am, I struggle to know if I believe that literally. I don't know that I care to understand whether or not it literally is that we are different, the same being. I don't know if that matters. I think to me what matters is what you can do by thinking that way. Sean, we met at Station Theater, and the reason that we met there is because you and I both at some point sought out a place to perform. And at that moment, the way I would understand it, with my kind of patchwork of different woo-woo spiritualities, is I would say that we were vibrating, right, in a similar frequency, where we ended up with a lot of people who wanted the same thing. And, I'm familiar with, the law of attraction and that sort of thing. And that seems to be an aspect of your model. One thought that I had is when you mentioned to Kindle, you said that you wanted to make sure that you were explaining it as well as you could, and that you would get better at it. And I think that while when you're discussing these, big concepts, like the underlying forces of our universe that we don't yet understand, I think that it is hard to be brief. But I think, unfortunately, brevity is the key to understanding. And as I read through this, I think there were some things that were confusing to me. And I haven't read all of it yet, which might be why. But also, there were some words that I saw that I thought, I don't know what that word is. And I think, if there is an alternative there, I think also, text is totally one way to express something, but I think better than a lot of people that you can also express ideas musically, like you do, or in any art form. And I think sometimes that can be a more clear way to get the message to people. I think about that a lot, like with a lot of religions that exist. I think that really what they're doing is they're putting it in a way that is digestible. We can set easy rules, and I don't know. This isn't a religion necessarily, as far as I know. But what this is it's definitely spirituality and a framework and a potential for furthering human connection in the same way. I think that the truth is, regarding the manic aspect of this, we have to rest. And as long as you are taking care of your body, I think you are welcome. and hell, welcome. You're welcome to do whatever you want. No one can make you even be well, But because we care about you, I think just the people that care about you want to know that you are taking care of your health. And when you see something that does look manic, it can just be alarming. I think ultimately, as far as getting the message out to people, what you've learned, I think you might end up having to accept that a lot of people, and maybe you already have, that a lot of people are not going to ever want to introspect in that way. I think that a lot of people's experience with unwell people can make them hesitant to approach something that they think resembles manic behavior. I think that if this resembles manic behavior, it is either because it is a little bit manic, which isn't, it's a human thing to be manic. I don't have any fancy diagnoses, but I certainly experience manic moments. I used to forego sleep to stockpile, comedy movies, and just so I would be an encyclopedia. And it wasn't healthy, but I am also who I am because of it. And so like I don't, it is what it is, right? It's all a part of it. So I can totally get behind that sort of idea, that it is all a part of it. It's the little, it's the cough at the symphony, that's part of the whole experience. I think that reading these pages definitely has me interested in your broader message. I am concerned that maybe there will be parts that I don't quite understand, probably because, they make a lot of sense to you because, they're your ideas. Sometimes I will try to explain something and it is very clear up here and it's just not coming out exactly the way I planned. So yeah, I don't know. I think that over time, if you can whittle this down to less and less words, you will probably achieve your goal of communicating it to more people. I think it's also true that some people are not going to be able to distinguish this from an actual manic episode. I mean, why would they? They're not qualified to do so. But also, when you smell it, you get worried, and I think you already know that that's just someone caring about you.